Hello, my friends. Today we have a new episode on doing business in Iraq. In the last episode, we talked about how to register a branch office in Iraq. Today, we will focus on investment in Iraq. Any company or individual who wants to invest to Iraq, there are certain procedures need to be followed in order to do the work and do the business. And I prepared a PowerPoint. I will try to show it on during our talk, and also prepared copies of the forms that need to be filled. These forms are prepared by the National Investment Commission in Iraq. It is 10 pages form divided into two pieces. First part need to be filled by the investor, whether it's person or company. Second part is for the commission to fill. Here they write their decision on the application. The application is very detailed and include all the information. As I mentioned, I prepared the PowerPoint, and this PowerPoint will be available on my site in case any person wants to have a copy. I'm titled the PowerPoint as how to obtain investment license in Iraq, because without investment license, nobody can invest in Iraq, or his investment will not be protected by the law. First question, where to apply for investment license? As you see here on the PowerPoint, it is at the National Investment Commission, and they have their email address where any person can contact them directly. And they have what's called one-stop shop to assist and help investors in finding their way during the licensing process. Also, they have their own email address, and it's here, appear on the first page of the PowerPoint. Also, we have the Investment Commission of KRG, the Kurdish region. Also, they have their email address. So any person or a company or investor have the option to contact the National Investment Commission, also the one-stop shop, or if they want to invest in the Kurdish region, the Kurdish Investment Commission. As a federal country, each governorate have their own investment agency, and you see here each agency have their email address. Any investment which is less than $10 million go to the regional investment agency. Anything above 10 million goes to the National Investment Commission or the Kurdish Kurdish Investment Commission. So we have the national agency and the regional agency. And here, this is the email address of each agency in each region for investment which is less than 10 million US dollars. All investments in Iraq are subject to law number 13 of 2006, amended in 2009, and amended 2010, 15, 17, 18. So unfortunately, this investment law was amended several times, 7 times in 7 years, in 14 years, sorry. 7 times in 14 years. And this may create some confusion about which is the applicable law. But these are the valid law for the investments, and they are listed here. And we prepared the PowerPoint based on these laws and regulations. Of course, there is English copies for each of these laws and regulations. For any person to invest in Iraq, either to authorize a person to do the procedure or to visit in person. If somebody or an investor, he's interested, he or she or they interested in investing in Iraq, may need to visit Iraq. And one of the facilitation process, the one-stop shop, is taking care of granting a one-time entry visa for investors. Potential investors are welcome to apply at the one-stop shop of the National Investment Commission for a one-time visa, one-time entry visa, and they will help them based on filling the form that I showed in the beginning. So investors either authorize somebody who's in Iraq, which is most recommended, or come and visit in person. In addition to filling the form, there are certain documents need to be submitted, and these documents are divided into three categories. One, documents related to the project itself, to the investment project. And these documents are project executive summary, project economic feasibility study, financial efficiency statement from an accredited bank, project completion timeline. The most important one is the second one, the feasibility study, because based on this feasibility study, this will help the National Investment Commission to provide the investors with all the help and facilitation they can do. So this is the most important document, the feasibility studies. Of course, in addition to all the others are also important, but feasibility study is where they make their final decision on helping the project, or this project is real or not. The second type of documents is the documents required from person. The person or the investor who wants to invest must submit the following documents. First, a document showing that he already made some projects similar to that one. Anyone in the world. Maximum 4, minimum 1. If there is no similar project, if the person did not make any similar project, this will affect the acceptance of the application. But still, it's possible. If the feasibility study is strong and good one, still, but also they need something to show that the investors have experience in similar projects. The second is the relationship between the authorized person and the investor. If the investor authorized some person in Iraq to process the papers at the National Investment Commission, to go in person to visit the National Investment Commission, this should be based on power of attorney. The power of attorney granted from the investor to the authorized person will limit or detail the authority that the authorized person has. He or she cannot go beyond these authorities mentioned in that document. For that reason, it is called the relationship between the authorized person and the investor, which is power of attorney. The second is copy of ID or passport. The identification card or the identification document, passport, anything shows that this person or this individual is citizen of Iraq, or is citizen of some country, and he is real, not a fake one. And also, in addition to that, the identification card or the passport of the authorized person. These are the documents required from the person. The third type of documents required are the documents for companies. If the investor is not a person, he's a company or she's a company. And these are the documents required from any company, which include the articles of incorporation, a certificate of incorporation of the company, certificate incorporation of the company or investment entity or office and branch in Iraq. As you can see, or if you remember, we mentioned these documents in the first episode about registration a branch office. So a person or an entity, a company who wants to invest in Iraq, either to be registered in Iraq as a company or as a branch office. And this will take us back to episode 1, where we talked about how to register a branch office in Iraq, and you can see all the details there. So this will take us to the company law and registration with the Ministry of Trade. Any company, any branch office must be registered with the Ministry of Trade Company Registration Department according to the details we mentioned in episode 1. Of course, these laws do not apply for the oil investments, because oil investments are subject to a different law. We will have an episode to talk about investment in the oil fields or oil investment. Do not include the oil investment, and also do not apply for the investment in the mineral wealth, and this is for anything else. And this law also mentions some privileges and guarantees for the investors to protect their investment in Iraq. The first and most important privilege, foreign investors will be considered as Iraqi investors. There will be no difference in the treatment. So there is no preference for Iraqi investors according to this law. Anything that Iraqi investor will get, also foreign investors will have. The investors will have exemptions from taxes, exemptions from labor law, exemptions from the custom fees, but for certain years and for specific purposes, for the purposes of the project only. So anything that will be imported for the purposes of the investment project will be custom exempt. Anything that is not will not be considered exempted. And this will bring us to a point. Some investors may use a second contractor, a subcontractor, to do business. Unfortunately, the subcontractor is not exempted. So if a company trying to invest in Iraq and use a subcontractor for some technical issue or for catering or for labor providing, these subcontractors will not be covered by these exemptions. These exemptions are for the investors only, the first investor. Also, the guarantees. The investor was issued some guarantees that any new law will not have a back effect. So if a new law issued today, the investors who have investment license before this law will not be affected by the new law unless it add more privileges. So if it is for the benefit of the investor will be included. But if there's any negative issues, these issues will not affect the one who have an old investment license. Also, some exemptions for the laborers, that is, the foreign laborers, their income will be 50% exempted from income tax withholding, which is very important in Iraq. That was a very fast review of what you need to do on the investment. The final recommendation, as you can see, these are very detailed forms. My recommendation is not to fill them until you consult with a lawyer or hire a lawyer to help you fill these forms and process them, because they are very, very detailed. And based on what you write in this form, the final decision will be made. Also, there are the part that should not be filled, which is for the National Investment Commission to decide. And also, you should consider that this law is related to many other laws that you need to be aware before even thinking of investing in Iraq. You have to be aware of the labor law, tax law, the company law, and the banking system, because one of the privileges that the investors who will invest a capital in Iraq will have the right to take the capital and its proceedings to outside Iraq according to the instructions of the Central Bank of Iraq. So any investor should be aware of the instructions of the Central Bank of Iraq and the banking system in Iraq, how much you can get, how much you cannot get, how to process his money out or his money in. These are things that you need to be aware. So knowing the investment law only will not help. You have to be aware of the civil law, labor law, tax law, company law, banking system, central bank instructions. In general, you should be aware of the legal environment in Iraq. The privileges are very wide, and the one-stop shop will help, but still you need to have a full idea about what to expect during your investment. I hope this information is good, and if you like it, please click like and subscribe in the channel, and hope to see you in the new episode. Thank you. Bye-bye.